Lesson 6.6, solving quadratic and linear systems. We saw a couple of these graphically before. We knew that having a quadratic means having an x squared term, and this would open up is a parabola like this. And then having something linear like this means we're getting two solutions. And so we'll see what that looks like. All right, so what I'm going to do is I have y equals this, so that sets me up for substitution. This is a replacement for y, but I'm going to put it in the bottom equation. So instead of y, I'm putting x squared plus 6x minus 4, setting that equal to x plus 2. So now I have a quadratic equation that I'm trying to solve, and we know that quadratics need to be set equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract x, and I'm going to subtract this 2. That gets x squared. 6 minus 1 would be 5x. Negative 4 minus 2 would be negative 6, equal to 0. Now I'm going to factor it if I can. So this is a basic trinomial. I know it starts with x times x. I need two numbers to multiply to make 6, which could be 2 and 3 or 6 and 1. But let's think about this. It's got to be a negative. So I'm going to need one sign positive, one negative, and I need them to subtract to make 5. So that has to be 6 minus 1. And then your solutions to that, remember you're setting each of these factors equal to 0, and solving you get negative 6 and you get positive 1. I'm not going to show all the work there. So that gives me two different points right there. I have one that's going to have an x value of negative 6 and one that's going to have an x value of 1. So now the question is, how do I get the y's? Well, you have your two equations up there. You just plug it in. The linear one is definitely going to be easier to plug it into. So I'm going to say the y is equal to my x value plus 2. So I'll plug in negative 6 plus 2, and I'm going to plug in 1 plus 2. So this one gets me negative 4, and this one gets me 3. So when I plug in negative 6, I got out negative 4. When I plugged in 1, I got out 3. So you could put them in here. You're just going to have to do a little bit more work. So what that's saying is our system intersects at those 2 points. All right, number 2. We have another quadratic because I see an x squared, and we have a linear. And so I see that y is this. So this is going to go in for y. So I have 2x plus 3x squared plus 13x plus 3 equals 3. So I just replaced y with this. I'm going to get it set equal to 0 because I have quadratic, put it in standard form. So I have my 3x squared, I have my 13 plus 2x is 15x, and then I'm going to subtract 3. So that actually doesn't give me a constant at all. So I'm just going to put it equal to 0. So this is not a trinomial, this is a binomial where I see a GCF. I'm going to divide out a 3 and an x. And so this 3x needs a times x to make it 3x squared plus 5. And then to get my solutions, I'm setting them equal to 0 and solving. And so this would be still 0. We learned that monomial is always 0, and this one would be negative 5. So again, I get 2 points. Now I just have to figure out what y is. And you could plug it into here, or what might be easier is to take this guy and solve it for y, meaning I'm going to subtract the 2x over, so that y equals negative 2x plus 3. That might be faster, you don't have to. So my y, for the first one, my y will equal negative 2 times 0 plus 3, which that's 0 plus 3 is 3. And my second one will be y equals negative 2 times negative 5 plus 3, which is 10 plus 3, or 13. Okay, number 3. I see where I've got this y equals, so I'm going to put it here. Notice how there's a minus sign before the y. That means that there's a negative 1 times whatever I put after this, which means all 3 of these things. So it'll become a distributive property of 16 equals 3x minus, put parentheses, negative 3x squared plus 3x plus 227. So now this negative would multiply by this negative to make it positive 3x squared minus 3x minus 227. Get it set equal to 0 and put it in standard form. I've got my 3x squared term. I've got my 3x minus 3x, that's canceling. I'm going to subtract my 16. So that would get me negative 241 or 43. Yeah, 243. Yeah. Okay, so that's equal to 0. I see a GCF because if you add the digits of a number and it's a multiple of 3, then that means that number can be divided by 3. 4 plus 2 is 6, plus 3 is 9. So I'm dividing out of 3. That would leave me with x squared minus, let's see, 3 goes into 24, 8 times. So it should be 81. Yep. You better know what this is. This is a difference of squares. So it'd be x plus 9 times x minus 9. The 3 really doesn't matter because it doesn't have an x to solve. So that gets a negative 9 and a positive 9 as an answer. Okay, and then you got to pick which one you want to plug it back into. Again, you can shift this one around if you want to, or leave it like that. Like I can do 16 equals 3 times my x minus y. 3 times negative 9 is negative 27. Add 27. That'd be 43. Seems big, but okay. And then divide by negative 1. So I get out negative 43 when I plug in negative 9. And then I would do it again. 16 equals 3 times 9 minus y. That would be 27. Subtract 27. Is negative 11. Divide by negative 1. And then y would be 11. So those are my 2 points of intersection. Okay, and then the last one is just a different way to solve, showing you all the options. I do like how this one's already in y equals, so I could also take this expression and replace y up here if you want. Either way, you've got each part equaling each other, taking out the y's. Get it set equal to 0. That would be negative 32x plus 35. Uh-oh. Trinomial. I don't see a GCF. So this is slide and divide. Yep, these gonna keep showing up. X squared minus 32x. 35 times 5 is 175. Okay, now the puzzle. I'm going to need a positive and a negative to multiply to make 175. Divided by 25. Oh, I need 2 negatives. Duh. I think I just found it. Right? My brain's not working today. Alright, so negative times a negative. It'd be 25 and 7. There we go, because they add to make negative 32. But don't forget, divide by 5. So this would be x minus 5, and this would be 5x minus 7. All that's equal to 0, so I still have not got the solutions. That would be 5, and this one would be positive 7/5. Okay. So then I'm going to plug it back into this linear one. Linear one says a negative of my x, so I'm going to put a negative of 5 plus 3. That would be negative 2. And then this one is going to be a negative of 7/5 plus 3. You can do that on your calculator if you want. Negative 7 divided by 5. Add 3 to that, which gets me a decimal. Go to math. Enter, enter, and gives me 8/5. And those are my 2 points that are my solutions.